what are your roles as Nigerians in ensuring transparency and accountability? Sorry, I can't see the question any longer. But you saw the question, so what is your role as a Nigerian in ensuring transparency and accountability in the management of public funds?
So, we need to understand this, that we are the government, and we are in the business of co-governance. So, because they are our leaders and we are followers, we need to bridge that gap and begin to have a flow of communication, direct flow of communication with our leaders. Now, why I said it, growing up, I don't know if a lot of Gen Z do voluntary contribution within your community. You do Red Cross, you do Boy Scouts, and these are where we need to go back to the grassroots and we need to develop active citizen participation. From our organization, we've been doing what we call Citizen Charter of Demand, CCD, where everybody will participate in contributing budget process. These are our needs analysis from the what do we call it? The legislators jumbo that they call what do you call it? Constituency project. So you can't just give me a borehole when I don't need a borehole. You can't give me 50 borehole when my priorities are the health. So we need to take account what are our priorities as a local person, as a community person, as a community leader. We have a role. So when we begin to take all these baby steps at the grassroots, it will escalate to the national. I think as an active citizen, we need to wake up that voluntary participation in governance as Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Gen Z, did you hear him? Follow the budget. Whistle blowing. Whistle blowing. We're not logged in. Online participant, please, you can also log in and answer the question. So somebody has said, follow the budget. I think from what she mentioned before, she had told us how she was able to follow the budget and identify that there was no direct budget line for children. And all we had was just, all we have, or used to have, is just the Children's Day, and all we see is a parade.
Political participation. Why? Because it requires a lot of skills, competence, character, and to be able to participate and have a seat at the table. So at that point, capacity is being built for them to actually know what all this and many other things we are going to be writing and learning here has to do. So that's how we have, at the roles that we feel that when they have a seat on the at that table, they can also advocate for their rights because they have the skills, they have the competence, they have the character and the capacity to be able to do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So take her. Sorry. Sorry. And him.
Okay. At the grassroots level, to inculcate in our grassroots people the need to vote and to protect their mandates. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we take the next person, please, I'd like to just check on the online participants. So do we have comments online? Sorry. Somebody said here we need to overcome the fear of being the only one doing 18 rightfully. Just do the right thing. Don't fall into the hands of, okay, because I'm not doing what they're doing, I have to join them. You don't have to join them to do the bad things, to be corrupt. It can be a corrupt act by the government. So you even need to know what corruption is so you can avoid it, like a plague. You know? Alright, I think that will be all for the next person, the last person for this session. Yeah.
My name is Lawrence once again. So for me, I would say advocacy, and not just any kind of advocacy. Fact-finding advocacy, intelligent advocacy, whereby before you can interface with people in the government, you need to get your facts right, and you need to be very knowledgeable about what it is you're advocating about. For instance, at Spaces for Change, what we do, we carry out policy advocacy, research advocacy, right, especially in the area of governance, environmental justices, and the likes. So over time, we've discovered that many people just, you just go to the street, you shout, you know, at the end of the day, the government decides what they want to do. But where you engage them with facts, with figures, to show that this and this and this is what is happening, at that point, they can't resist what you are bringing to the table. Then they are compelled to listen to you. So research is one of the things you can do. Right? Advocacy. Right. Thank you.
Please a round of applause for a non-governmental, non-partisan civil society organization working effortlessly to see that there is transparency and accountability in the management of our public resources. And as you know, we engage in a lot of advocacies, and the team has a wealth of experiences in advocacy. So to take us on the first ride, which is here titled Training Diet 1, I'd like to bring forward my colleague, able colleague by the way. She is the program officer at the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project. She'll be taking us on active citizenship, the roles of right holders, citizens, and holding government to account. Please, with a warm round of applause, help me make welcome my colleague, Folashade Arigabo, for her presentation. She will not teach anything you don't have on her.
Thank you. We are looking like they didn't just increase the fuel price. We are looking very well and very fine. I don't know if like me, you couldn't sleep well last night because I was just thinking about a lot of things. For some of us, we're already doing these things. I heard someone from Spaces for Change, people doing things around election and how to hold the government to account. So we're teaching ourselves, reminding ourselves of some of these things that SERAP does and some of the things you do, and then we just exchange ideas. That's a good idea, yes? All right, thank you very much. So it says active citizenship, the roles of citizens in holding government to account. My name is Folashade Arigabo. But for the sake of this training, please call me Fola at any time because we'll be discussing. Fola is fine. And I think we're introducing ourselves in a format. Lifestyle, since the price increased. How many of us? Who would like to share? Who would like to share some of the changes that you have made? Okay, great.
I am Rotarian Stephanie Abaje. The changes I've made, there are some friends I visit weekly. I've stopped visiting them. And the painful part of it, they really need my visits.
Can you send your prayers?
Prayers won't do it. There are some things you need to talk people out of depression. That's what I do. And I can't visit them anymore because I don't have the cash. It's not that I want to do it.
Wow. Any other person wants to share?
He wants to say something.
Who?
Things that.
Okay. Very quickly. I will tell you my own experience too. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
My name is Lukman Agbabiaka.
Orúkọ mi ni Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Aládé. Mo jẹ́ olùdarí organization tá ń pè ní Lagos Tax Justice and Governance Platform. Ojúṣe wa ni láti ran ìjọba lọ́wọ́. Ìgbà tí ìjọba tọ́wọ́n ìjọba wa tó bá ṣe dáadáa, àwa náà ṣe dáadáa. Tí ojú ò bá tì wọ́n, ojú ò ní tì wá. Àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa ọ̀rọ̀ abániṣepọ̀ wa ní Social Economic Right and Accountability Project tá ń pè ní SERAP. Nǹkan tó ń ṣe nǹkan tó dùn mọ́ wa nú ni ta fọwọ́ sí nítorí pé àwọn èèyàn wa wọ́n ní láti tarají, wọ́n ní láti ní ìtarají láti mọ ojúṣe wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí aráàlú. Ipa wo ni ó yẹ kí a kó láti máa béèrè ẹ̀tọ́ wa lọ́wọ́ ìjọba? Tí ìjọba bá fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan pè ní budget, kí ni ipa wa láti sọ fún wọn pé ohun tá nílò ní agbègbè wa? Kí ni ipa wa láti sọ pé okay, owó yìí wọ́n ti release owó yìí fún contractor tó ń ṣe? Báwo ni ìjọba ṣe yan contractor èyí tó ń ṣe bóyá ọ̀nà, bóyá bọ́ọ̀hò ni? Okay, ńbo ni ọ́fíìsì contractor yẹn wà? Ńbo ló ti báṣẹ́ dé? support wo la fẹ́ fún contractor yẹn tó yẹ kó iṣẹ́ tó yẹ kó ṣe iṣẹ́ tó ṣe kí tó wà pa ló yẹ kó ṣe àti pé tó bá dẹ̀ ti ṣe tán ó yẹ ká ní project tó ṣe fún wa ká CDA CDC ó yẹ ká jọ ṣọwọ́ pọ̀ ká ní ẹ má jẹ́ ó bàjẹ́ because tó bá bàjẹ́ owó tó tún máa tún fi ná wọ́n á tún kó owó yẹn jẹ ni o so ojúṣe wa ni so inú wa dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ láti darapọ̀ mọ́ SERAP a fẹ́ gbà wá níyànjú pé ẹ jẹ́ kí a ní ìtarají láti jẹ́ kí ká pe àwọn ìjọba wa jáde fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
I have made changes in my life since in terms of some procrastination of everything. Everything I want to do, I start procrastinating because it stops me from progressing.
Please, a round of applause for me. You see, these are very practical. Okay, ma, please talk your own. You must not talk your own. Talk your own.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
My name is Azomta.
Yes.
I just realized that I trek more. Literally places that ordinarily I would have entered keke or and it's no more a problem.
It's not a problem. A round of applause for her. You see, it will make us begin to think about new ways to achieve our goals. I'm sorry you have to move forward. I have very limited time. We have to move forward. You know, personally, I have a very senior friend, like my mom. So he has 2 cars. He has a Highlander and a Toyota Corolla. So since the thing started, he doesn't carry the Highlander anymore. So he and his family, they'll be cramp themselves in, Corolla. Eco 5,000. He can carry it for like maybe 2 months. So that's what he has been doing. And so this shows that it affects everybody. It has become everybody's business. Even though, please can we go back to the slides? Even though there are some select persons who we have chosen to be there on our behalf. So it means that any decision that they make, right? If they decide that they want to give us 8,000, a whole family, that's what they said, right? If they decide that they want to increase the minimum wage to 200,000, well, it's what they say. But it's important. I try to picture a pot of jollof rice, right? Firewood, jollof rice. No, not Ghana, please. We are patriots here. A pot of jollof rice. So the jollof rice belongs to all of us. It belongs to everybody. However, we chose Rotarian, sorry, I forgot your name. Rotarian Stephanie, your name, ma? Speaking Fingers, oh my God. So we chose Rotarian Stephanie and Speaking Fingers on our behalf to share the rice for everybody, right? We all chose them. However, if they are sharing the rice, and we agreed, right, that they should share maybe 2 plates to the elderly, 1 plate to the, and they have refused. What's our job? Our job is to remind them. Our job is not to leave them and say, oh, I have to run. But remember, it's our rice. So we can't just put out and say, let Rotary Stephanie just share the rice anyhow. So she will just share to her family members and it's finished, right? So it's our right. It's our right to ensure that the rice, the national rice, we call it cake, right? The national rice is shared well. And when we talk about good governance, it's, in the end, it translates to how the decisions of people we have put, Rotary Stephanie and Speaking Fingers, how their decisions affect us. In quality education, provision of water, good roads, constant electricity and protection, employment, and so many of those things. How does it affect us as a people? How can we speak out? And it's important to also note, like we have been saying over and over, it is our right. As a matter of fact, it's our right as enshrined in the Constitution to partake in governance. Us. How do you know what projects or processes to monitor in government? Remember the rights. So how do we know what projects, how do we know what processes to monitor in governance, in governments? The people we have put their Speaking Fingers and Rotarian Stephanie, So they are there on our behalf. How do we know what to monitor? How do we know how to monitor this project? Any hands, anybody? How do we know what project to monitor? Do I want to, would that mean that none of us monitor this project or none of us have even tried to? Any idea? Any idea? How do we monitor this project? Or how do we even know what projects to monitor? That's our duty bearers are doing, and we are okay, sir.
My name is Chief Now, in monitoring the projects, it's when they call us to tell us what they want to do. If they don't call us, we won't know what they have in mind. And whenever we are there, they only tell us the other side of it. They don't come out properly to tell us that this is all what they have in mind. It's just a preface of what they're going to do. So by that, you don't have much knowledge of to know what they are doing.
Thank you very much.
We can apply freedom of information bill that we have to ask from any government or agency or what is going on in the projects.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Can we clap for them, please? So that's very important. Our daddy has said that we wait for them to tell us what they are working on. And he has also said that we can also request for them. And I think these are wonderful ideas. There's a hand up. Okay, please, can we quickly have him before we move on?
Once again, my name is Benjamin. I report for ONTV. I think the most important thing when you are working with the government, in the sense that you want to know what project they are working on, is to identify those projects that are not actually working. Check around what road has been dilapidated for probably, or is not good for probably 3-4 years. Go to the local government, go and find out. This road is there. Who is in charge? Who is supposed to do it? I think that's the way to, in Nigeria, look for the bad thing that has been suspended or has not been attended to. That's the way you know which project
you can monitor
or not.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for him as well. So, and we have all spoken very correctly. We'll just look very briefly at some of those things. And the first thing we're going to talk about is through the budget. It's through the budget, right? So, in Nigeria, we know that before the beginning of a financial year, every ministry is going to send their budget to the National Assembly. True? So they are going to decide, we're going to do this for the next financial year. They send it to the National Assembly. National Assembly will look at the budget and consider incoming revenues or anticipated revenues and know which one to remove or put and all of that. Send it to the president and then he signs it. The appropriation bill becomes an appropriation act. True or false? So that budget already contains the things that money is going to be released for. So if we really want to ensure that we get our own plate of that pot of rice, maybe we do not want to wait for them to tell us. Maybe it is time for us to begin to follow the process from the beginning. So this is what happens. Imagine that Rotarian Stephanie and Speaking Fingers, right? Yes, and Speaking Fingers, they are there in the district. Now, if two of them are deciding about the pot of rice and they realize that every other person is looking at somewhere else, looking at how to jump, this person is looking for how to marry, this person, nobody sends them, this person is tweeting, this person is looking for Big Brother Nigeria, this person just, everybody is distracted, right? What do you think they will do? Because nobody's looking at them. Nobody's saying them, so opportunity, right? But imagine that from the very beginning that the rice was given to them, everybody's eye is on them. So if group, exactly, we know that we are calling their name, our eyes are on you. If you do anyhow, you see anyhow, right? So we are looking at them. It helps to put them on their toes. True or false? So the first time we can begin to do that is by looking through the budget. So now it's now an approved budget, an appropriation act. Can we look through it to see how much is Osun State collecting? How much is Ministry of Works and Housing collecting? Before the road even gets bad, how much was even earmarked for the road? So we're not being reactive. We will know when we are being proactive, right? So a way that we can, how can you find the budget very quickly? You can go to these websites, www.budgetoffice.gov.ng, you will see budget. Now, it may be a complicated document, but just, it's patience, right? Remember, it's our pot of rice. We are not going to be tired looking. So you will go to this website and you will find the budget. You can also go to National Assembly website. I checked that yesterday. You will see some budgets. Or you can even go to your states, right? Each state has a constituency office. It is mandated that each state has that. So locate where your constituency office is and go and ask them how much, like our brother they mentioned, your local government offices, but there are constituency offices in every state. Find out what the budget is, right? Or you can also go to your state. So most states have a website, even though some states are not very updated. www.yourstate.gov.ng. So if you're from Osun State, www.osunstate.gov.ng. That's one step that we can begin to monitor this project. The second thing we can do is by what we call tender documents. What is a tender document? Now, sometimes when the government agrees that, okay, we will spend this amount of money for this project, it doesn't always happen. True or false? So they might say we want to use this amount of money to do this thing, but things can happen, chief of which is corruption, right? Or sometimes, like a pandemic, like in the year 2020, some things they wanted to do, they couldn't do it. However, through a tender document is a document that the government uses to call for want of what we can call application for contracts, right? So as part of the public procurement policy and process in Nigeria, and according to the Public Procurement Act 2007, it is mandated that every ministry that wants to carry out a project, remember the budget, so let's assume Ministry of Works have said they want to build some roads states, right? So if the back and forth, the government says, okay, we want to now do this project, it is mandatory that they publicize that contract. It is mandatory. So the public procurement, I think section 19 and 25 specifies clearly that they publish it in 2 national dailies, on radio stations, so it's everywhere. That, okay, the Ministry of in so state is calling for application contractors for bidding, right? They call it bidding, that's the language of contractors to supply so thing. Now, when they do that, there is what they call a deadline for the submission of application. So that's how you can know that, okay, they are about to carry out this project. It means at that point, money will be released. At that point, they are ready to do that construction. It is sure. So the budget, between the National Assembly and the budget, there can be some mago. But once the tender is published, they do actually. So every ministry will they always do it actually. So once they do that, you can begin to follow. You can begin to say, oh, okay, this is good. They are about to do this project. So where can you find some of these tender documents? You can find on these websites, nocopo.bpp.gov.ng, etenders.com.ng, and budeshi.ng. Now, these are some of the websites you can find. So, aside maybe hearing on the radio or newspapers, once you go, can we try to go to this website, etenders.com? So you will see some of these projects that have been publicized, announced. Okay, great. It looks very tiny, but this is the etenders platform. It's very easy. Once you have a phone, you can go check it. You can even check it on your set. Now, these are different projects, right? See, this is over 2,000 entries. Different, but let's try to check for a state. Which state should we search for? Lagos. I like Ekiti State too because they're doing things these days. Should we do Ekiti or should we do Lagos? Ogun. Let's do Lagos. Okay, so please let's put in Lagos in this search. So you can You can search anyhow. You can search using Lagos State. You can search using the name of the project. Maybe you're saying an abandoned project. Let's see what comes up under Lagos. I don't know if you can see. It's very tiny. Sorry. The projector has made it very tiny. So what happens is that, can we dim the lights if that's possible, please? So what happens is that our network is running. Once you put Lagos State, what happens is every project that is in this financial year comes out on this. So you can look at it and say, oh. So they don't give you money for this road, this hospital, this. So this is how you can begin to monitor and see. They don't put up with the lights, please. Anyways, I wish I could read one of it. So this is one from Ebonyi State. It's even so small for me here. Okay, it's fine. So this is a request, I'll read it out because this is a request for proposal for maintenance of generators. They release money for distance. In Kebbi, I'm telling you, in Bauchi, Sokoto, and Ebonyi State, under the Integrated Health Program. Please, can you pan to the other side? I don't know if that's left or right. You can see the date it was added. That was July 18, this month. This month. Yesterday. Okay, yesterday. Look at the deadline. So it means that when you want to bid for this, so they're calling for contractors to bid for it. The deadline is 8. When is 8? September, right?
No,
August. So August 2nd, this is the deadline. August 2nd, 2023. The category is repairs and maintenance. There are many others. I wish the Lagos State thing is still loading. You will see different, and you see the location of what it's supposed to do. Now, how can you now monitor? When you see this, it means that by August 2nd, the deadline for submission of contract. So it is normal practice in Nigeria that from that date, give like 4 months from that deadline date, implementation is supposed to commence. Give 3 to 4 months, a maximum of 4 months. Implementation, it means that they will disburse a percentage of the money to the winning contractor and work is supposed to begin. So imagine that you see something in Lagos State now, something that really affects your community or affects you as a person, and you see that the deadline for the submission of the proposal was maybe 2022. It means that implementation should have done what? Should have begun. And then you can now indeed begin to pursue and say, what happened? This contractor was given this project, this job since 2021. So this tender document is another way that we can we look at the other website? Okay, scroll down. I want to see, scroll up rather, sorry. I want to see the top. So this is another website you can check. And this is the Nokopo, this is even a government website though. So they are mandated to publish it. The e-tender website is not a government.
Hi, Chief Festus Oladipo, Arojolu, Bale Otumara, Ìlàjẹ Ìbílẹ̀ta West. Mo kọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọgbọ́n àti òye àti ìmọ̀ tó jẹ́ pé èmi náà fi lọ ṣe àtúnṣe nínú community mi. Nípa pé àwọn community papọ̀ fún ìdàgbàsókè ìlú bá ṣe lè ṣe àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ pé gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì ò fẹ́ lọ́wọ́ sí àti pé bá ṣe máa involve àwọn local government fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan then àwọn communities wa àwọn elders wa tó fẹ́ máa sásẹ̀yìn nípa ká túlù ṣe tó fẹ́ máa ṣe máa pè wọ́n papọ̀. Mo kọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọgbọ́n gan níbàyìí. A rí ikọ̀ mẹ́ta tí mo mú lọ́lé mo tẹ̀ mú tó ìpò pọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n kí n sọ kókó ẹni láti túlù ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀nà wa ṣe bàjẹ́ tó máa kọ́kọ́ yẹn lọ dá yẹn lẹ̀. Èkejì tó dàbí rẹ̀ ìtọ́nisọ́nà àwọn ọmọ wa láti bójútó ọmọ òbí gbọ́dọ̀ bójútó ọmọ ẹ̀ láti má máa wọlé lóru ìwà ìpáǹle láti máa fi bọ́mọ lò àfẹ́ rí nínú kọ̀mítì yẹn. Àwọn iṣẹ́ yẹn ó wà lọ́wọ́ mi ó dà wà lọ́wọ́ gbogbo olù ọlọ́run fún wa ṣe.